It was around 300 BC. And he said that he got this story directly from one of his ancestors, Solon, who was around about 600 BC, 300 years before Plato. Great granddaddy. Solon said that he got the story directly from the Egyptian priesthood, who it was their job to document and preserve all of the Egyptian history and historical records. So Solon went from Greece to Egypt in the year around 600 BC. He met with the priesthood and he wrote down this story that they had documented. You wouldn't need to go into such detail about really unrelated things. If you're telling a morality tale, then you don't need to go into serious detail about the color and the size and the shape of the bricks that made the buildings, or all the types of animals that were stored there, or where exactly the harbor was in relation to the palace. All that stuff doesn't really matter if you're telling a story about the right and wrongs of humanity. Get to the point, Plato. I didn't really fully take notice of the Atlantis story until I had researched something called the Younger Dryas Comet Impact. And if you don't know what that is, like, Google it immediately because it's so relevant to human history. But in a nutshell, a lot of scientists are now concluding that around the time of the last ice age, which was about 12,600 years ago, there was a time when the weather on the planet Earth changed dramatically. The dates that the geologists and the scientists are saying that these comet impacts happened is around 12,600 years ago. And then if we look at the story of the history of Atlantis and the date that the Egyptians told Solon that this cataclysm happened, the dates match up. And that's what got my attention. The Egyptian priest told Solon that 9,000 years ago, Atlantis got destroyed in a day and a night. And the date that Solon was told that was 600 BC. And the date that science tells us a comet hit the world, 9,600 BC. You're looking for an island in the middle of the ocean. Personally, I don't think that we're going to find Atlantis at the bottom of the sea. That's not what I believe what the text tells us. The story says that Atlantis fell into the sea or got destroyed. But it says that, and afterwards, you couldn't go there anymore to the city because it was surrounded by mud, by like a mud barrier. And therefore you couldn't sail. No more water. It's not under the sea. It's either one of two things. On land, mud, earth, or in some sort of bog, marshy, boggy area, like a delta, and you can't sail there anymore because there's literally earthy, muddy bog that's stopping you from going there. People are looking for an island. So when I used to think of Atlantis, I used to think of literally like a tiny island. No. In the translation of the text, the word for island can also mean like peninsula or sort of area. It doesn't necessarily translate directly to island.